I'm listening to Japanese jazz. So. All right. Anyways, hi. I hope everybody's had a good day. For those of you that hung out last night, and I did a live stream in the evening. Um, I hope you've had a good evening and morning time. But okay. Here's today's page. This is the page that I started yesterday. Quick doodle in the morning, and then inked it up. And then we did a whole bunch of mixed media application to it, putting some different papers down on it and getting busy on it to craft up some cool surface variations. So in the scanned image, you can see all kinds of the stuff, and I'm going to zoom in so we can talk about some of the, this is what I'm referring to, the crazy lines underneath Grandpa. That is some of the interesting stuff that I'm looking for when I'm putting together, tissue papers and the like in the surface, and some of these crazy variations that you can see in the composition, like in the large black areas of people's legs here. You can see different lines and stuff like that. That's the stuff that I was talking about, looking out for to try to get just a little more interesting biddly bops in the composition. So when I scanned it, I had to scan it in 3 separate parts, and then I had to stitch that together. And this is where you can really see a lot of the little little differences in the surfaces and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. And then at the final image is where you give it a little bit of structure, clean up the outside lines, and give it some story. Have some fun with it. Oh, I'm missing stuff. Frankly, how you doing, sir? Franklin Mapleton. People check out, if you like gaming, check out Frank's channel. He does a lot of the DVDs. And then Linda, how you doing, Linda? Welcome aboard. Okay. Is there feedback? What kind of feedback? Like, oh, yeah, turn that down. I don't know. That kind of feedback? Okay. So, today's page. Oh, before I do that, here's the original. Quack. Frank says he hears a kitten purring, usually in this studio, all the time. It's not a kitten. I got old cats. But yeah, you'll hear them purring fairly often in here. Corbin decided to help me out this morning. I was shooting a video where I was just finishing off this page and doing the digital part of things and talking it through. And then Corbin was sitting on my lap through the whole thing. And all of a sudden I realized, when did this, at one point he'd hit the keyboard. I said, buddy, watch out. Don't be touching things. And then probably 20 minutes later, I realized that nothing's recording. He's turned off the recording. So, thanks, Corbin. Anyhow, there's the page and, the original illustration itself. So we'll just throw that in the pile. See, I got to get a glass smashing sound for that. Load it up on the computer. Okay, so in the old camera here, I've got another piece of cardstock set up. So what I had said is that I'll use colored pencil today. Somebody said, can you do a colored pencil drawing? I said, no! And then I said, okay. There's a real negotiation there. So I'm just going to move things just about a little bit here. I got something blocking me. And it's bugging me. All right, yeah. So I'm listening to 70s jazz and funk from Japan today. My headphones. I love it. The city sound they started coming up with around the time, if you've ever seen Akira, the animated film, they came up with something called the city sound. And it was a lot of North American influence for synthesizers and jazz. And they sort of crafted this whole very stylistic kind of cool fusion music that I really enjoy. So that's what I got planned. Miromaso Minumaka. I can't pronounce other names and remember other names with any justice, so I apologize to those creators, performers. Okay, pencil crayons. I just grabbed a bunch of them, and we'll just start into it. I got to find today's suggestion. Another thing I thought I'd do is I noticed that a lot of people are doing quotes in their streams, and I thought that's a really uplifting thing to do. I don't know if it's necessarily a me thing to do. Yeah, but then I realized the stuff that I find interesting is, I like George Orwell, and I like readings, Orwell and Vonnegut and guys like that. There's usually tiny little statements that they make that resonate so deeply, like Vonnegut's expression of "so it goes," which says so much about any given situation. Easiest way for you to prepare yourself to respond to it is, well, so it goes, because there's not much you can do about a thing that's happened or a thing that's happening. So I always like that. And then things that Orwell would say, because he did a lot of literary writing, little criticisms. One of my favorite things that Orwell said is art and propaganda are never quite separable. And which is, when you think about it, you can try to state that this has, whatever meaning this does or does not have. But that's not necessarily true. So this is the kind of inspirational quotes that you're going to get out of me that are, well, just relatively that. Let's be honest. Okay, so I've got Surface set up. I've got the book out. Hey, look at me, I have a book. And looking for a suggestion for today. People are always welcome to shoot one-page story ideas at me, 3-word prompts, whatever it is. I'm always open to everything. It's fun and challenging to push myself and to try to find the story in whatever random idea that comes at me, because it's it forces me to grow. It just forces me to attempt story ideas and to try to structure together a page out of something that might not necessarily work. And I like that a lot. And I encourage people, if you see any ideas that I'm doing and you think, hey, I want to try that, I want to give that a go, please do. Please know that you're more than welcome to do so. Okay, I got an orange pencil out. That'll be what I'm going to be breaking things down with. And I'm going to start in a silly way, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. I'm finding check marks everywhere, and I know that that's not the case. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I have yet to do, but I'm just trying to go back through to earlier stuff, back here when I'm still drawing over top of the suggestions. For heaven's sakes. Here's a quote for everybody. Thank you very much, Frank Mapleton. Coming at you hard. Hard-hitting facts. The news. All right, what do we got? I don't know if this is a question or if it's a quote or a suggestion. Okay, well, so I'll write it down. It's this is Chris B. And what is your absurd process? This is from a conversation. So there's today's suggestion, and let's get right into it. I've got no I had a sharpen. There it is. I'm going to sharpen up my pencil. So I've been watching a ton of interesting little talks and people going through what their process is. And I always appreciated that. I always liked the idea of how other people are working on their storytelling. And because I know that none of us are the same. And I know that nobody is going to work the exact same way as the person directly beside them. But there is this going to show up? Can you see that, or should I switch to a red? I got no preference. I'm easy like Sunday morning. There you go. Okay. So that difference of however you tell a story, however you work on an image, however you illustrate in general, is always the most interesting thing to me. So I'm just going to use this red as a sort of basic color and just making sure I'm not missing stuff. And build up the image much like yesterday I did. Oh, I know what I was going to do. So again, before I just dove into the drawing part. So even when you're not necessarily working, or at least even when I'm not necessarily working in mixed media, another one of the little tricks that I used to do for myself is because it can feel daunting to, to work on a fresh piece of paper. And, it can make you feel like, oh, if I don't do this, if I make a mistake on this, I wasted this paper and stuff like that. One of the things that I used to do is just grab a pencil, and a lighter value on a pencil is usually a good way to go about it. Like this this salmon color isn't going to turn out well, so just to let yourself get right into the image and get right into the surface, just scribble all over the paper. Now I don't know that that's necessarily turning out too clearly. You can see it a little better, maybe not. Anyhow, scribbling all over the surface with reckless abandon. Leave it. So, and then just get to work on top of it. Work up your image, work up whatever your composition is, and don't worry about those other lines and stuff like that. But you've already made a mess of the paper. So at that point, what's it going to hurt for you to start trying to do some drawing? And if the drawing doesn't work out, the whatever the things are that you're trying to put down, who cares? Just do your best. And because you're never going to get any better unless you make a lot of mistakes. So the first step, of course, is you just got to try. And if you can't, it's not going to change much. So this is just a Prismacolor Premiere Scarlet Lake. I wouldn't want to go Scarlet Lake. So now I know that's people will see me scribble on the paper and go, what? I'm not doing that. That's stupid. You do you. Because the thing that I know is that I can take this color out, right? Like I can come in with an eraser and pull out some of these areas where I've got it. If I think it interferes with whatever it is that I'm drawing on the surface, I can do that. I can pull it out. It's we have the technologies for that. It's called an eraser. But in the meantime, I've got to work on something that I may not have done otherwise. And when you're working on projects for other people, where you're doing commission work or you're doing contract work, like illustrating books for others, things of the like, you don't have time to, I'm, hedging around and I don't know how to start and blah, 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 blah. You're never going to, you got things you got to get done in a certain amount of time. Oh, Miriam's joined us. Hi, Miriam. Welcome aboard. Okay, so we scribbled in salmon pencil all over the paper, and now I've started drawing the structure of the young man that I'm going to be putting in here. Today's suggestion is, what is your absurd process? So I'm already walking you through one of my absurd processes, but I'm going to play with this idea similar to how I played with yesterday's idea of a village meeting gone wrong. Nice little everybody in the village gathering together for a young man's baptism. The weird new priest sort of sets it up. So, okay, so yeah, where are we at? Oh, everybody's saying hi. That's super nice. If anybody didn't catch it, I put an explanation in the post that I did today of the page that we started to walk through yesterday. I was recording a video this morning, and I was really pleased with how it was going. Corbin's sitting on my lap the whole time, helping, and I realized at a certain point the video is not recording. At one point he touched the keyboard, and I said, "Hey, watch out!" And what I didn't do was check that keyboard to see that he'd actually turned it off, the camera. So no video, unfortunately. I mean, I got some video, but not much. So I'm drawing the voice of our narrative here. I'm drawing him in. I can pull. I can pull the camera in. Just give me 1 second, and I'll get that turned on. Come on, robot. Okay. Pull in once more. So there you go. You can see that a little bit better. All right. So I'm just coming in with this red pencil and building up our composition, and then I'll start playing with a little more value as we go. One of the things that I'll do is that I'll erase color out and as I'm going, just because the whole thing's drawn in red, but there's certain parts where I don't necessarily want it to be red. I want it to be a different value. So I'll erase it back a little bit. So this is some of my absurd process, which is what this page will be about. This is what the narrative will be about in this page. But it won't have anything to do with, drawing or anything like that. It'll be about this person's absurd process in the day-to-day. And I'm going to have it start off with our guy here telling us about what his day-to-day is. Give him a flat cap, like I wear. I'm sure I've worn it during a stream at some point. See, I forget. I get cold all the time in the studio. Studio's got it's good temperature. It's the same as the rest of the house. It's just I get cold, and which I never really did when I was younger. But so I wear hats in here all the time, and I don't realize that because there's no part of me is. What if I look silly in front of people? I don't care. But I'll wear the silliest. I'll wear a John Deere tractor hat, or I'll wear a flat cap. Whatever it is, it's just whatever I had on my head at the moment. Just there it is. You gotta have fun. But sometimes maybe I should pay a little more attention to having some kind of style or vibe. Maybe that is my style or vibe, is that I don't really care. Okay, so putting our guy in here, I'm having him lean on something. Just because, just to have it be interesting. You know, hand in pocket, troublemaking maniac. I'm going to come in with some more color as soon as I get this worked in. You are sitting while in the studio, or is it more quiet? Well, I've changed my miking. I changed my lighting. I built a rig for my cameras. I got a microphone right here. It's literally right here. And I got a new chair. Lori picked up a high stool for me to sit in so that it's easier on my back and it doesn't squeak. It's probably really off-putting to people that they don't hear constant squeaking. But no more squeak. You know. It's just a kind of a nice thing not to have the squeaking all the time. And it sits high and it's got a, nice foam seat, etc., etc. Okay, so here's our guy coming in, and so this is our narrative voice. And so he's going to be describing, what it is. What's my absurd process? Well, let me tell you. Okay, well, how does it begin? Just it's fun to have different kind of poses and people just staring right it down the barrel of into the frame of reference or the frame of interest here. So I want to shake that up. Somebody picking at, oh, my eye, or just scratching at their eye or whatever else, just gives a little bit into the character that, in this instance, like a nonchalance like that, show that they're not overly concerned about how they impress you with their behaviors, etc. Okay, so, draw some of this environment around him. I'm not going to move much higher here because this is really the top of the page, and we'll bring this door down. Let's put a big crazy lock on it. Why not, right? Just little pieces of information to make the scene around him more interesting. Just making sure I'm not missing stuff. I hope, Miriam, you're feeling better. If you're still here in the chat, Miriam has been feeling poorly, everybody. Has had COVID with her, poor creative self locked in her art studio, but not feeling up to working. So that's anybody that's been there kind of knows that's kind of the worst, where, hey, I could spend on them here home. I'm going to spend this time. You're not spending this time. You're busy being sick and feeling terrible. It's those moments where we'll be afforded a break, because of illness or something like that. And there's a party that's like, oh, you can get a couple things done while I'm home. No, you're not. You're sick. You're going to do what the sick people do, and that is try to feel better. It's good to see Miriam back on her feet. As soon as Maxie was feeling better, took off out the door. Running through the street, skipping. Miriam says she's feeling better. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so it just as I'm finishing out drawing this character in this environment as he's leaning on the surface, and then I'm going to have little lip, little ledge here as though he's on a like a concrete form here. This is maybe like where trucks pull up to and dump stuff out. You know, just trying to some interesting lines, but get a little bit more into our drawing and draw out some more information here. Kind of working loosely today. And yesterday was fairly a tight image. You know, I like to switch it up. But once I've got this drawn in the red, then we're going to get into having some fun. Pulling red back in areas and jumping other colors in. And am I still, yep, just making sure that where I'm working is visible to you. I've got this surface in behind the board that not only keeps it held in place, but also gives me a guideline of, hey, you need to be right here so that you're not constantly wandering all over the place. People can't, hey, I'm so over here, I'm doing this, and you can't see what I'm doing. So, all right, so I've got, let me continue this line over here and get that ledge drawn in there and the rest of this door, and then we'll put do another one of these, another one up top there too. Maybe the same size. How about that? And so then I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut some shadows in here. And start populating the space a little bit with little bits of information, color. All right, so here's the basic drawing build up here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in. This is I got a brown here and a maroon. Oh, that's a kind of a purple. Maybe I won't use that. Here's a chestnut, so an even deeper brown. Okay, so I'm going to come in with these two values as well as an orange into the face. And the fourth trusty thing that I'm going to grab is our good pal Derwent. Derwent! It's not just for breakfast anymore. Okay, so I'm just quickly going over the whole of the face with old Derwent. The hand here. Now, because it's colored pencil, it's not going to just come off easily. But we're pushing it back. I'm also going to grab a pink eraser here as well. Just push that a little farther. I don't want to press too hard Derwent because he'll just do his job and take things right now. Okay, so now I'm coming in with this orange and putting back in some of these lines that we had. Some of these shapes and a little bit more. I'm just breaking up our guy's features here, drawing them in. Extending this hand down a little bit. So I've got marks that I'm putting in with the orange, not over top of the red that I already had down, but where I can build it up. And so it's coming in very lightly and softly, so it's going to be challenging to see for a few seconds, but We'll get there. We'll get there together. We're a team. Like Smokestack and Jerome. Everybody's heard of Smokestack and Jerome. A kid in my neighborhood named Jerome who'd hang out near the smokestack. Everybody knows him. Okay, so now this chestnut color. And I'm coming in with a lousy lead. I gotta get an electric sharpener, I think, at this point, set up on my desk someplace. I had one, but it was really lousy. Don't buy a cheap electric sharpener. Get an electric sharpener that, knows what it's there for. What's it there for? Do its job. Sharpen the pencils, pal. So I'm coming in really lightly and pull in just a little tighter with the camera here so that it focuses just a little more. There we go. So you can see as this chestnut color, which is like a sort of brown, but it's got a good degree of red in it. And I'm not pressing really hard. That's another reason that it makes it challenging to see. There's not a lot I can do about that. It's just a soft application. So the mouth it's like almost basically like 3 different lines that I put down to make the shape of the mouth. Don't feel like you have to just draw a line straight across or a happy face or whatever it is. You can build things up with little marks. I've said this before, I'll say it again. The human eye looks for those patterns and will fill in the missing bits. The Orwell quote that I said today that's hard to separate. I'm paraphrasing it, but it's hard to separate. I have to read it. Boy, brain is just cheese. Oh, no, that's another one. Art and propaganda are never quite separable. That's the quote. Even in an image like this, drawing this character representing a certain demeanor, a certain attitude in the story, and whether it's how he speaks or whether it's how the value judgments that might be, expressed or visualized in it. That's a form of pushing an agenda, pushing issues, at least identifying and recognizing said issues. So I'm using the Derwent and tapping down on the surface. This is an electric eraser for those that aren't familiar with what the Derwent is. Get one. I just 5 decades before I ever bought one. Been on this planet for 5 decades. And although I'm 39, and finally got one. I'm like, why have you not been with me all this time? Okay, so now I'm coming in with a green and just coming in. It's a little heavy. Just doing a little more shape. And this is a yellow, some kind of yellow. And this will just give a little bit of more like light, just a little bit of life into the human skin here. But it's muted enough a color that I'm not just running right to white, the color of the paper. Okay. Miriam can't talk with your mouth full. You're not really talking right now, right? You're typing. Can't type with your mouth full. I guess. It's so funny. Okay, so the green I'm putting in really where the joints are, and just there's the chestnut, emphasizing little areas, the same as I'm doing here for the knuckles with this chestnut color, and some of the grooves in the back of the hand, and grooves, man. Okay, so there we go. All right, now make sure I'm not missing stuff. So for his clothes, let's where are you? This is a taupe color. If you ever wondered what taupe was, you're about to find out. So again, I can come in with this eraser and just run over the initial drawing in red, just to soften that down a little bit so that I can put some other colors in the same area. But the red works as the unifying color through the composition, because the red is there. It's underneath everything and peeks through everywhere in the composition too. But because it's sort of underneath everything, it ties the whole of the image together. So this is taupe, which is clearly a form of kind of a brown, or you look at it a different way, it sort of has a little sheen to it, sort of like a copper bronze metallic type sheen. And I'm following the shape of the outfit he's wearing as I'm putting these lines in, which are fairly light. But that's the taupe, I don't want to press too hard. Okay. I'm going to also run through here a couple of more colors, but I'm just building up some shape of his outfit here. Some movement, some direction as well. Because the way I'm applying the taupe is with directional lines that are moving through the image. Now, here is the chestnut color that I talked about earlier. And so I'm going to jump right into this. So this is more of a traditional deeper brown. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to use next to no black today. But I'm going to build up all kinds of dark, deep value areas. But I'm going to do it using brown and black. I'm sorry, brown and blue. I'm not going to use black. I'm going to make big areas of black with black. Yeah, I'm going to be using this brown and a blue. Take a couple passes at spots and sort of, it doesn't give you a black. What it really does is give you a more so a kind of a deep charcoal gray. Depending on the specific brown and black you use, you're going to have variations of that, of course, but so building up. Yeah, so as we're going over the red sort of is just disappearing a little bit, but it's still in there. It's still clearly red. Now, there we go. This is a navy blue that I'm sharpening right now. And I'm going to I want to take it to the school and let it have fun at the dance. All right. So I'm coming into the same area where I put down this brown. And I'm putting the blue into some of these same spots. And while it's not black, the way that these two guys work in conjunction with each other gives a really nice deep charcoal, but it's got this energy to it. It's got this life in it because of the blue shining through it. Just gives it a little something more. It's not perfect, but it does the job. So hopefully you can see how it's starting to get deeper now. See if I can go to my advanced settings on this camera. So I'm going to zoom in now. And hopefully, yeah, that's a little more in focus now for you. See, I'm learning. I'm learning. So maybe now you can see some more of these colors now peeking through in some of the orange and some of the other values that are in the face. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to comments, but I think I'm caught up. So, all right. Now I've got this. So now I can take the brown and start moving throughout the area as well. And then it's sort of a connection between the brown tone here and the brown that's within the deeper tone. Yesterday I'm working in black and white. Today I thought I'd have a go at it with color. And, you know, got a better yellow here. Still a really light yellow. These Laurentian pens, Prismacolor pens, these are, or pencils, I'm sorry. Really, really lovely. So I can press a little harder with the yellow, and it actually kind of also does a little bit of blending on the colors that are here. It allows me to put interesting little movements in the face. I have to have a more rounded vernacular when I'm trying to describe things to people. What does he mean when he says movement? Could be 23 things. Okay, back into chestnut. Back into my chestnut. And then behind our character, I'm going to just do a little bit of business back here behind this one. So it's kind of not a very big palette that I'm working from, but so this is a blue. Anyhow. Thanks, Betzel. You're welcome, Chris. So I don't know if you're able to see some of the salmon scribbles in the image overall now, but they are there. There's no part of them that's interfering with the drawing for me. They're just part of the information in the drawing. Whether people like that or not, the right person will see it and go, I get it. Other people, you can't control it. But we're not working. We're trying to create stories that other people can engage with, sure. But we're not working for those people. We're not doing it specifically for their wants or needs. I'm not worried about that. So this is the same thing as I do with everything else. I'm starting from a light point and putting some marks down. And then I'll, get a little darker as I go along. But it's a good starting point. So what I'm doing with the truck is I'm building up these little light values and building up the color of these metal doors. So it's fairly light. Now I'll turn camera down. Even got my light control mounted here. So you can see the light blue peek out a little bit better. There's this guy interfering now. There we go. No, too bright again. Well, there you go. You can see the blue. And again, it's really faint. And it's, very lightly apply this on purpose. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to suggest I have a plan and I know what I'm doing. But just bear with me. So I've got that. Do I have a gray? No. So we'll use the chestnut. So whatever, I've said this before, I was using a little thumbnail that my tablet shut off, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. And I'd already not been looking at it, but it's one thing to use your source information, but don't try to copy it. Don't, spend all your time trying to replicate what you just saw, because if you're going to do that, you should just go buy a camera. There's a technical application to trying to do an image so nicely that it looks like the real thing. People have done that, If that's your pursuit, so be it. But we've got so many things now that can replicate that. Trust yourself. Instead, make some marks that you make. Start telling your story with the way that you work creatively. Okay, so this fellow needs a shadow. So I'm going to come in with, where are you? That's just not the ground. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to come in with this navy blue now. And I'm just lightly coming in. And I'm putting some shadow with the blue in here. And so I'm imagining my light source is up here in the corner. And so as it's over these locks, and yet at the same time it's angled, so but we've still got this crazy cat casting a shadow on the things that are behind him. And then we're going to have the same thing happening here. Now, this is a ledge, allegedly. And so the shadow is going to go a different direction as it follows the plane of the surface, right? So as we move the shadow across, the image will account for that. But you can use things like having the lines move a different way from the typical way that you're putting down the lines. You know, simplification of those lines. But we've got some shadow happening over the environment. Now, same thing. Let's run through here and put some shadow through into our guy's face as he's covering his face with his fingers. We're doing it again. And we're utilizing this navy blue really lightly. Just as our shadow value. We'll come again with that chestnut in a second. We're having some fun now, folks. Now, I've seen before classic illustrators that will walk through an entire composition with a color, like a blue or something like that, and run through all, like blocking out all of the shadow areas, utilizing that value. And, you know, as the different colors are applied over top of it, depending on how much peeks through and how much doesn't, it's a way to develop your base color that moves through, that is throughout the whole composition. For us, it's this red. But as you can see, the red is diminishing as I go over top of it with whoops, wrong way. With other values, the red is more and more washing out. But think about where the light source is over there. Give you a heavier shadow at that end. Pardon me. So this is our narrator reflecting on some reminiscence of, it's like in Law and Order, when you watch Law and Order, dun dun, you'd see it would do this cutscene to clearly we've missed the first question that the detectives would have asked the person that's being interviewed. But, you know, it's that sort of a, here he is leaning against this area, you know, Bob Zemeckis. Yeah, I know Bob Zemeckis. Isn't that guy Still running around town with this 16 millimeter camera. Wonder where he went, you know. I think he got picked up by some men in black. You know, that's what the simple fireman told me. There's all kinds of Bob Zemeckis jokes in there. So now I'm coming through with this chestnut value. Just putting a little warmth in these lines before we go back to, oh no, it's the chestnut we're using. Let's be a little more solid with our application of it. Drink break. All right. All right, I'm going to go back to running through the whole thing instead of building up spots. Now, I think I'm going to try something here today where I'm not going to completely finish images. I'm gonna like in this case with the colors at the bottom of this little area here. They're not going to be as easily readable. You know, like I'm not going to finish some of these details. And so different colors are going to represent themselves a little more clearly here. And I'll throw in a couple of colors like an orange or something like that that you're not seeing a lot of throughout the rest of it. So why is that appearing now? A little green, you know, just for some fun. It's like playing with color swatches within the image. There's another overlap of the blue and the brown. Same color, I just switched the pencil that I was using. So where we've got the red at the top of this arm, I've come through with the chestnut color and the navy blue color. Just making sure I'm not missing stuff. Anybody has any questions or ideas or whatever it is? Let me know. I'm open. I'm doing okay, so that's come together. So I must have finished my coffee. Do you recognize this guy? Recognize him? That guy's my cousin Sally. He's a maniac. You don't want to go and talk to that guy. You know, those kind of testimonies and law and order. That's what this guy's doing. So putting, Miriam says, closing off, fleas cannot injure. Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe that's not trying to keep yourself protected against the virus. Coming back to that taupe color. I'm just picking out some spots. some marks there, some there. Just building the shapes more than I'm worried about what does this line specifically delineate. What is that representative of? There's a degree of abstraction that we utilize. I mean, in the first place, you're drawing a three-dimensional representation on a two-dimensional plane, on a dimensional surface. Sorry. So, don't get too caught up in worrying about that part. One of my favorite comments over the years has been, "That's great. What's that?" Same breath, same open air mouth. Oh, that's fantastic. What is it? Everybody gets those that is making stuff. Oh, so this is what I'm talking about. Here's a little blue belt. There's a little no, that's where I'm going to jump at it with a green. A deep green here. Apply that. And this with the red, working as against each other, a complementary action. Yeah, see, that should just be jumping out. Coat of many colors this guy's wearing. But he looks warm. So here is our narrator coming together. I know what's going to go. I think I put some lines running right across here. Flatten this out a little bit. And we'll put some more shadow through here. So when it scans, it's going to pick up all these little color, basically like swatches, I guess. All right. Got the chestnut? Yep. Chestnuts roasting in the chestnut blaze. Just eat chestnuts, yeah. I like chestnuts. If they're what I'm thinking of, maybe you should try them too. What is that you say? You've tried them already. I could do this all day. These dumb lyrics. Okay, so here is this building up. I've got two, that's why. Yeah, Zook. Okay, so now I'm going to try to fine-tune some lines in these shapes. just to find like that lock picture, or the lock should just jump out there. There we go. Remembering where that source of light is again, right? Now I'll come in again in a second with that navy blue. If anybody has any questions or stuff, you're welcome to ask away. I got a question, Chris. People play tennis? That's aggressive. It's personal. Can't believe you're asking me. You remind me of My Fair Lady. Is that right? Oh boy. The guy part or the girl part? So I'm trying to find this. So I keep all my pencils in my one hand and just run through them. So whether this is, realistic or not isn't my concern about how realistic it is, because this is going for something different. This is going for telling the story, and everything doesn't have to be absolutely perfect in order to do that. Not a solid line across there. We'll come through with Derwent and cut that out. Chestnut, says Miriam. Chestnuts. Crackers. Oh, my chestnut song. Now I get it. It takes me a second to catch up. Why, is that My Fair Lady? Did I not write that song? Is it just sort of leaked into my head from probably haven't seen My Fair Lady when I was younger? I'm blown. So now I'm coming into this area. Same shadow. Same value. And so I'm going to put some interesting lines and shapes through. At the back of this truck, give it a little bit of character. I'm just picking random lines and directions. And Miriam says, not the song, the situation, the chestnut vendor in the musical film. What do I know anyways? I couldn't tell you. I haven't seen My Fair Lady since I was a kid, so I believe you. Did he do this? Or did he have his hand on the nuts the whole time? He's like, peanuts! Get your peanuts right here, folks! So again, Is this perfect representation of what the back of a truck looks like? No. But having fun, that's what matters. Now I'm going to come in with this chestnut color. And it'll settle down some of these other values. Fun. King that's in Madrid. Into Hermas. Do you remember the king and I? I just remember him standing with his legs spread apart, with his hands on his hips. Come into the room. And then Jodie Foster says to Yul Brynner, I'm coming into the room, sir. So we're going to continue down here with the door. There we go. So the salmon scribbles that I did at the start of it all, they are still throughout the piece of paper. It's just they're a part of this image now, more or less, and less of a distraction or stuff like that. It's just, it's in there. It's in the picture now. As I'm drawing it, I'm not letting any of it, take focus from what I'm doing. But at the same time, I'm trying to utilize it, incorporate it in. Trying to think of some colors here. Yeah, I'll just run some lines up like this, as though there's like stains, I guess is what I'm talking about. I'm trying to think about when you've got in the back of a vehicle, like you'll see like really beat up pickup trucks, and there'll be, aside from whatever rust they might have or whatever, you'll see little stains of oils or something like that. Okay, so this background image here with the door coming in is coming together all right. Now let's come over with that green and run across the bottom area here. Doesn't actually represent anything. It's just interesting lines, interesting shapes. And then this, of course, goes off panel. But despite drawing in these details, this is lots of ample space that's been left. And I'll pull the camera back one more time. So in this whole area, there's lots of space that's being left for dialogue. There's something here, there's something here, there's something there. So I'm just going to make some random marks. So this is like a concrete surface. And then when I'm done here, a few minutes, well, not more than that, but I got some BS NAS to take care of. Okay. All right, so there's our start. There's the start of our overall page. Now I'm not, again, in this case, I'm probably just going to draw panels wherever, whatever sizes. Figure out where to go with that after. So, and when I'm done here, before Lori and I figure out some paperwork and some action on some projects, I got to go out and shovel again. I already shoveled today. What's the deal with that? I had to go clean off I have 12 by 12 gazebos in our backyard, and I had to go and clean those off. We got this special shovel that's upturned, and you drag the snow off of there. I had to go and do that twice, just because we've had such packing snow that I don't want my gazebos collapsing, and then I got to replace, panels in the roof, or the whole roof, or, knock on wood, the whole shebang shanoodle. This is the dark brown that I'm putting in. It's the same dark brown that, when applied, nice fine point and sharp line, you can get these technical shapes. As opposed to feeling like soft organic shapes. It's very produced, manufactured, I think is what I'm. Okay. All right, so here's our guy talking about the situation at hand. The suggestion for today is, what is your absurd process? So I think what I'll do next is I'll start drawing the next panel. So as he's regaling us, we just minding our own business, etc., etc. I was posted within an hour, I guess. Well, maybe not. Who are we kidding? I won't post it for tomorrow morning, but I think I'll do another. I think I'll come on again tonight. That was fun. But like I said last night, the idea is that when I scheduled it, Lori, they usually go to bed around 9:30 lately. So I'll just put it for 10:30. That's fine. But she got really into a program, and I'm having to excuse myself at 10:30. She's like, "What? Where are you going, Jack? Sit down." But I got to go and draw pictures with my friends. Okay, last little bit, and then on to the next thing. next panel. And the next panel, I think I'm going to, down on 42nd and 3rd type of a thing. And so I'll draw a bit of this, the street, the street shot here, the thin panel of that. And then I'm going to do a pull in. So it's going to be a bunch of vertical panels that are moving along. And whether or not I do a horizontal panel in this lower section or another vertical panel flipped on its side, I think I just want to do this page as just being upright panels telling the story A, B, C, D. And I think that's what it'll get down to. It's about an hour and a half, roughly. And I think I'm really comfortable with that first panel, and just gives you sort of an idea of how I work with pencil crayons. Like I said before, you really, while the red's in there and the red's going to pop through in the scan, which is so much clearer than these inexpensive cameras can ever do. But for the most part, when you look at it like this, you can't see all the red in it. And that the whole drawing was initially just red. And yet now it's got more of an earthy tone to it. So great. I'm pleased with that. Okay, I will be back later tonight. 10:30, 11, I don't know. And I'm continuing working on this. And tomorrow, for those of you that aren't these late night types, I'll be back at 2 p.m. EST. It's Wednesday. I'm working on having a guest this week, at the end of the week again. A good friend from London here, and we'll see how he responds to this week. We had it set up for a couple of weeks ago, but our plans didn't connect, and it didn't happen. So I'll be announcing that tomorrow if he's going to come by Thursday or Friday. So in the meantime, I'll either see you tonight or I'll see you at 2 p.m. EST. If you're interested in seeing finished images, take a look at the Instagram that's running along the bottom and the Facebook that's running along the bottom. If you want to see the original art, that's on the Patreon. I'm going to put what I have of these videos, doing some of the digital stuff for the page I posted today. I will put those on the Patreon as well. Maybe you can even see where Corbin turns off the camera on me. Okay, thanks very much, everybody, for hanging out. No, Miriam says thank you. And bye to everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming and sticking around. And for those of you that are watching after, if you want to make any comments or suggestions or anything like that, please do. Thumbs up if you want. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody engaging here, and I hope some of the stuff I've shown is of help. Okay, bye for now.